What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Criterion Corner. This is a segment on the channel where I go through some films in the Criterion collection, give my recommendations, tell you guys what I think that you'll enjoy. And so this being the month of July, I talked about it in my 7th Seal video that Barnes & Noble's running a sale where you can go pick up Criterion films for 50% off. It's a great time to buy these, because I feel like Criterion does an amazing job restoring these films, giving you some behind-the-scenes content. Because I can, one of my favorite filmmakers, as a lot of you on the channel already know, is a man by the name of David Lynch. I love David Lynch. I think he's one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. He is my personal favorite filmmaker, and I want to talk about a film today that gets mixed reviews amongst his fan base, but it is one of my favorite films ever made. And the film I'm going to be talking about today is Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me. Fire Walk with Me is directed by David Lynch. In the questionable town of Deer Meadow, Washington, FBI agent Desmond inexplicably disappears while hunting for the man who murdered a teen girl. The killer is never apprehended, and after experiencing dark visions and supernatural encounters, Agent Dale Cooper chillingly predicts the culprit will claim another life. Meanwhile, in the cozy town of Twin Peaks, hedonistic beauty Laura Palmer hangs with lowlifes and seems destined for a grisly fate. Twin Peaks is one of the greatest television shows ever made. I think it's a brilliant combination of comedy, drama, suspense. It's just amazing. The character development in the show is incredible. It's a spoof at times of soap operas, like daytime soap operas. There's so much to love about it as a whole, and it is one of my favorite things in the world. Every time I watch it, I grow a fonder appreciation for it. Obviously now David Lynch has made season 3. It was on Showtime. It's definitely a David Lynch property. It's one of those very surreal art house pieces mixed in with some narrative filmmaking. But when the second season of Twin Peaks got off air, which is super unfortunate because ABC told David Lynch that he had to tell everyone who the killer was and spoiled that for everyone, where David Lynch wanted this show to go for 5 or 6 seasons and never once say who the killer was going to be. It's one of those things where, what's he going to do with a movie after all this time? And this film, everybody thought that it was going to be a continuation, where this is a prequel. It's the start of Twin Peaks. Laura Palmer is still alive. She hasn't died yet. And I know a lot of Twin Peaks fans got upset when this movie came out, but this is one of the most beautiful character studies I've ever watched in my life. This movie makes me cry every time I watch it. I think a lot of it is due to Sheryl Lee's performance, which is one of the most brilliant performances I've ever seen in a film. And what it does is it gives you more perspective into Laura Palmer's life and what she had to go through and what her character was going through psychologically in this situation where she was being sexually abused, and is a high school kid who's doing cocaine regularly and doing everything that she can to just kind of escape her own head. And it really is just absolutely brilliant. The film opens with these other FBI officers, and it's like the opposite of what you feel during Twin Peaks, where everything is super bleak, there's not a lot of comedy. And then they run into David Lynch's character, Gordon Cole, and that's when the film starts to get a little comedic. But this film definitely has a much darker tone to it than the regular Twin Peaks series did. And that's because you're getting Laura Palmer and Ray Wise's character relationship as father and daughter and what's going on behind the scenes there. And it really kind of builds that tension, makes you feel so unsettled. And obviously we have all the other Twin Peaks characters that we care about. James comes into play pretty heavily into this film. Bobby is a super big character in this movie. And it's really just mainly focused on Laura Palmer and the things going on between her and being pursued by Bob, and Bob trying to kill her. And obviously at this point we know who Bob is. If you've watched the TV show, you know who Bob is. And once you find that out, it really makes the seriousness of the situation feel even worse, because Laura Palmer is one of the most popular girls in her high school. People love her and they care so deeply for her, but when you find out how traumatized her life is and how much shit she's been through, how she uses drugs and sex to kind of push out the rest of the world, it's heartbreaking. And Sheryl Lee's performance is brilliant. You really get it through her facial expressions and the way that she interacts with other people and how she shifts on a dime. David Lynch has said in interviews before how Laura Palmer is one of the most important characters that he has ever written. And obviously, you know, people, when they talk about Twin Peaks, they love Dale Cooper, they love all the police officers that work at the Twin Peaks Sheriff's Department, and those characters matter and there's a place for them. But I love that this is Laura Palmer's movie, and it is such an incredible experience. I think that there's so many great performances. When the log lady shows up in this, she is phenomenal. There's so many great lines of dialogue. I love the surrealism in this film that kind of adds to that world of the Black Lodge and all of the stuff that's happening with that. I feel like you get a newer understanding. Obviously, it's David Lynch, so it's not like expressively just spelled out for you. You have to kind of piece it together on your own. But it is really just a work of genius. The Angelo Badalamenti score is beautiful. There's so many unique tracks in this that were never in the TV show that I think really just add to that ambiance and atmosphere of the Twin Peaks world. And it's just one of the most brilliant films ever made and one of the best character studies ever made. And Laura Palmer's character is definitely one of my favorite characters in all of cinema. And it's one of those things I feel like everyone needs to watch this movie, but make sure you watch the Twin Peaks series first. But everybody should check this movie out. So if you've seen Fire Walk with Me, did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I think this movie is genius. There's so much about it to love, and every time I watch it, I love it even more. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.